So I'm kind of pissed off. I'm kind of pissed off because the America that we were born into and we were promised is not even a glimpse of the America that we live in, right? First off, let's start with these new 15% tariffs that go into effect tonight at midnight, right? I'll start off with that BS. So everyone's like, he can't do this. Donald Trump can't do this. Donald Trump is not a genius. He has a group of people who are geniuses when it comes to the government, who do know the laws, who understand the regulations, and all of those MFers are being complacent and they're allowing this to happen. Okay? It's called complacency at the highest level. Now I know you're asking, why would they be complacent about this? Why is it that Gavin Newsom is going on CNN pretending like he gives two shit about these tariffs and he's acting like he's doing something special, but he's not actually doing anything special? He's just a handsome man with a nice haircut who's in shape. And this is why I say that. These people have known for a very long time that whether you are a Democrat or you are a Republican, that the government has been liquidating our funds. The Democrats, they utilize social capitalism in order to keep you docile, right? The Republicans use freedom in order to keep you docile. Either way, they're making you think that they're doing something in your favor, but that cannot be the case. Do you know why Donald Trump is going after these tariffs? Do you know why the government cares so much about these fucking tariffs? Because the money that we have been paying in taxes every single year, just like good Americans are supposed to be doing, they shitted on that money. They never made the billionaires pay their fair share. They gave those billionaires a break thinking they'll pay they'll pay the fair wages, which they have not. Minimum wage has not went up, right? We're still at $7 and some change. They thought that, okay, if the national government doesn't have to pay for these people, surely these corporations would pay for these people. The corporations are legally liquidating their human assets right now, and they're trading them in for fucking AI, for technology. And on top of that, they are liquidating your cities, your towns, your homes. Oh, look, there's South Carolina who's in a literal fucking drought. How are we in a drought? Where did we get this we're in a drought mindset from? The reason why we're in a fucking drought is because instead of paying to back our water, they have paid for fucking battery companies to come here and to liquidate us. And then when those battery companies can't pay the bill, then they say, oh, no problem. So, i.e., the city that I live in, they got $1.5 million for a battery company. That battery company has now pulled out because it cannot afford the infrastructure because China has made a discovery of 100,000 tons of gold that they've been sitting on. So now the fucking battery company has decided we can no longer afford to build up the infrastructure in your city. So fuck you to that $145 million. On top of that, they took that money and they ran. It was supposed to promise jobs. Now we have brown water. We are in a literal drought that nobody is talking about, and they don't give a fuck. And it's starting to piss me off because when you hear about this fucking tax that's going to start at midnight for 15%, this means I have to go get groceries tonight so that my groceries aren't taxed 15 fucking percent tomorrow because you know that the stores are going to try to squeeze everything from the American people. The reality is Walmart could have paid that tariff without ever pushing it on people. Kroger could have paid that tariff. Publix could have paid that tariff. They all could have paid that tariff before they pushed it to the American people, and they did not. They made us pay for it. So why is it important about these tariffs that's coming? And why is it important that somebody finally listens when I sit up here and say that America is falling because no one wants to believe that our fucking country is falling? And it is. It's important because the state of South Carolina is now trying to pass a law saying that your gold and your silver is legal tender. That is a big deal. Do you know what happens when states try to say that they will take your physical asset and they will trade it for your digital money? That's them saying billionaires don't have enough gold and silver. So I need to liquidate it from the people, and I'm going to give people pennies on the dollar. I'm not going to actually tell them that gold is up at 5,000. I'm not going to tell them that. What I'm going to tell them is, oops, it looks like, the money is a little funny. So go ahead and give me your physical, literal assets that you have, and I will trade in your gold and zeros for zeros and ones, the same thing that's not paying the bill around the world. And that is why, if you guys haven't paid attention, no, BRICS, they are not coming up with their own fucking money called BRICS money. They've came up with something called the unit. The unit is a conversion system that's backed by like 70% gold. They want to say 40, but it's really 70 fucking percent gold. Okay? Good job, baby. You can watch TV now. So that means that if they have backed the unit by gold, and America is, our dollar is backed by nothing but hope and promises and threats, that means that every other country, go ahead, baby. That means that every other country is going to be spending money outside of here, and they no longer have to come to us because BRICS owns 70% of the world's gold and over 50% of the world's resources. But nobody thinks that that's important because you've been fed. And I'm not saying it's not important. I'm just saying while your headline news is talking about the Epstein files, your headline news is not talking about the water outages and the droughts in America. Your headline news is not talking about the fact that your literal dollar is about to mean nothing. 15%. If they tax all of our goods and services a flat rate of 15%, that means that your dollar is going to drop down by 20 fucking percent. You have to understand the math of what they're talking about. If they're going to be willing to trade gold and silver for goods and services, they're literally telling you in your face that the dollar is going down. And people think we have nothing to worry about. If you have nothing to worry about, then why are these bunkers appearing everywhere for the billionaires? Because they're going to take your gold and your silver and they're going to run. I don't care how desperate you get. Don't you trade in your gold and silver because they need it. They need it because when those assholes go down to their bunkers and their security guards start turning on them, they're going to need our gold and silver. We cannot afford to give them our gold and silver. We cannot afford to trade with them because we're going to have to start trading with each other. Every single country that has ever fallen, it looked normal before it fell. There were no indicators but what so-called whistleblowers were trying to point out. And all a whistleblower is somebody that lives within that same country that is a citizen that's saying, hey, I've been looking at the data's looking weird, but they shadow ban, right? In 2026, they're not just off with your heads if you're a whistleblower, they will shadow ban you. They don't want people to know this stuff. This is the stuff that you need to be paying attention to. Everything else that you're paying attention to, it doesn't fucking matter. I promise you it doesn't matter. I promise you they're finding a way to make you fuck around and find out. Our government is literally subsidizing billionaires still. They're not having them pay any of the bill, and they're allowing them to keep their money so that they can buy into the gold industry, and they're going to run off with that fucking gold, and you're going to have nothing left. That is the point. The point is keep Americans caring about this little thing, have Gavin Newsom's cute ass go on television and act like it's Donald Trump's fault when it's really all of our politicians' fault. Every fucking politician is complacent right now because they don't give a fuck. They are getting their money together. They are liquidating their assets and they are building their bunkers. And they're sitting up here telling you to worry about the Epstein files, which you know they're never going to actually do anything about because they're draining America of its fucking water. They're draining America of its assets. And our dollar is about to be down to, it's going to only mean something in this country. We have two solid allies left who are not talking about walking away from us. That's Australia and that's Great Britain. And if you pay attention to Australia, they are actually telling you in small indicators that they are also going to leave America. But nobody's paying attention to that because they sat up here and told us that BRICS wasn't doing shit. That's not the truth. That's not the fucking truth. The BRIC, that's why they took their asses over to Nigeria and they started some shit. And then a week later, Nigeria joined BRICS. They took their asses over to Venezuela and they did this show when they put the president and his wife in handcuffs. But little did you know, BRICS came in the back and said, hey, but you can't touch none of the assets in Venezuela because we already signed the contracts. We already signed the deals and we own these assets. We don't own as many assets as y'all think we do. And our only true friend, Great Britain, they don't own shit either. Their country is falling just as fast. So what does that mean to the American people? What does that mean? That means stop being distracted and become informed. That means stop acting as though your government cares about you. Because literally, what just happened in this state is they took $40 billion away from unemployment and they pushed that to subsidize the billionaires, the same billionaires that literally fired their people. Now, mind you, you're not supposed to actually need an unemployment if the original deal with the billionaires worked out and they were paying us our wages and they were not firing people at a rapid rate, but they are firing people at a rapid rate. If they're firing people at a rapid rate and they took the unemployment money, which is the same money that American tax people pay into, and we're trillions of dollars in debt somewhere else, then they're literally taking this last push of tariffs to solidify their pockets with money. Because the tariffs is not a tax that we're going to get from other people. It's a tax that's going to tax us. And they're going to take that money and they're going to continue to build their bunkers and they're going to solidify the doors and they're going to seal the doors. Mind you, fucking Mark Zuckerberg, his bunker in Hawaii, it has fucking farms and Wagyu beef and all this nice shit and all these nice cows, and it has its own independent solar system and water filtration system. Oh, the same people who were liquidating our water and drying up our rivers, those are the exact same people who have found a way to make sure that them and their family and their friends drink water, make sure that they have food to eat. They're only coming after us, and they're going to do everything they can to take the rest of our money. I'm tired and I'm irritated because I said back in August that we should not participate in Christmas, but you assholes did. I'm tired and I'm irritated because I said don't participate in Thanksgiving, but you assholes did. It's the fact that you keep participating in shit and that our fellow citizens aren't finding a way to come together. That is how they're winning. Because guess what? The million billionaires, they are coming together. And you know what they've decided? We can't do anything about it but liquidate the rest of this country. So we're going to put a face on it. We're going to say it's Donald Trump. And he's going to go do it. But we're going to take everything from the American people. And we're going to leave them with nothing. Y'all think it's just a coincidence that the Zionists just decided that last year was the time to leave America and go get their own fucking country? Y'all think that's a coincidence? Of course, because you think everything's a coincidence, because everybody is still talking about Democrats versus Republicans, and there are no Democrats. There are no Republicans. It's just a corrupt American system. There are no left. There are no right. You know who the left and the right people are? The actual human beings on the ground fighting. That's the only left and right in this country. There are no actual left and fucking rights. They sit here and they play with you every single day, and they made politics like football. And we tuned in and we're like, oh my gosh, guess what's happening over here? Guess what's happening over there? But the reality is, it's not a fucking game. It is your money. And the American people still don't see it. And we don't see it, and it's a detriment. It's a detriment to us. The fact that we are complacent, the fact that we just sit down and we believe anything that we see when it comes on that nightly news, even though y'all know that 6 p.m. news, 5 p.m. news, that's all regulated now. But y'all know it, but you're complacent. Then you listen to your favorite fucking influencers. Their job is to influence you. Their job is to talk about things that the system will not shadow ban. So that means that there's going to be some level of the truth that is never going to come out because they don't want to get shadow banned, because they enjoy being an influencer. They enjoy having strangers that don't know them from a can of paint sitting up there worshiping them. This is all about greed, greed of the mind, greed of the pocket. And the reality is we are so close to seeing our country look like Libya, but no one wants to talk about that. Because surely not America. But okay. This ain't the same country that we used to be. And when I say that, I'm not saying that we were a great country because, hey, I'm a black woman. But what I am saying is the balls on the people who were like, I enjoy my freedoms and I do whatever I want to. Oh, they got castrated a long time ago. And the castration of the white American man who thought that he was really tough, That is the same thing that they have been utilizing for years and years and years. Divide and conquer, divide and conquer. Now we're to a point where they have divided us so far that they are able to conquer everything that we have left. We have nothing left. And they're liquidating our country. And the worst part is they're not going to tell you that they're liquidating our country until they're done. And once they're done, we're all going to be sitting there looking like, well, what do we do next? What's going to happen next, right? Because as they're liquidating us, they're watching us. And they're watching us because they don't want any of us to talk about the liquidation. No, that's scaring people. That's so-called misinformation. Of course, that's how they want you to feel. It feels better to say this person is just talking shit, this person is just making things up, than it does to say, oh, we messed up. And I'm irritated. I guess I'm just irritated. I'm irritated because we didn't need to be here. I'm irritated because there was a way out. But we never took that way out, because if you see your neighbor going through things, it doesn't matter. Everybody was okay when it's the black ladies getting fired. But the reality is they give different information to different demographics and different geographical locations, because you always have to stop the flow of information. Like they said, they'd rather have a stupid working country than a country that's well informed. And that's where we are today. So, I may sound like I'm frustrated, but I'm frustrated because I've seen this happen before. We've seen this exact same thing happen to multiple countries around the world, and now it's happening to us. The people who we thought, this surely can't happen to us, but go look at the numbers. The numbers, they don't lie. The numbers don't lie. And the reality is, this tariff thing is just one last push before they have to close the door. That's the reality. Y'all think, I'm just going to say it like this. Everything seems like a joke or like it can't happen to you until it happens to you. And it's literally happening to America. Everything that we thought can never happen to us is happening and has been happening for a long time. And we had no idea because we were okay with the complacent thought that we were special. Yeah, we real special. Oh well, this is just our new reality. So y'all haven't done so already, might as well go start buying seeds and stuff. And the crazy part is they're going to keep playing business as usual because they have to, because that's the goal. The goal is to take everything from the people, but keep it all quiet, make it seem like business as usual, so that they can liquidate as many and as much of your assets, and not just your assets. They're also going to liquidate your time, your energy, your effort. They need you to go work for them. As the billionaire companies take one more push to take everything away from the American people. That's exactly what's going to happen. This ain't the first country that this happened to. It's like watching the Roman regime happen all over again. It's almost as if one would say Rome never left. They just relocated and named themselves America, relocated and named themselves Great Britain. And now we're at a time where they have both of those countries are wrong, not wrong, but Britain and America are all facing the same BS at the same time. And it's just due to the politics of the world. And instead of telling us that, hey, some shit is going down, they want us to be quiet, they want us to be complacent, and they don't want us to talk about it. Because if we talk about it, we may do something like hoard our assets. If we talk about it, we may do things like not go to work. If we talk about it, we may make it so that the billionaires who are trying to liquidate the rest of our assets and our time and our energy and our effort before they close their bunker doors, we may just surprise them. And they can't handle too much more surprises because BRICS BRICS is already handling all the surprises. So they just need us to be good little compliant Americans and do what we need to do so that they can take the rest of our assets, our money, our gold, our silver, our diamonds, and put it in a little vault so that they can have enough. Because what they also realize is that the rest of the country, Marcellus, please, baby, excuse me. Excuse me. I thought you said you don't watch TV. Can you quiet down for me, please? I'll be done soon. No problem. Go ahead. Dinner's almost ready. Um, yeah, so if you look at it that way, we are very close to looking like the Roman Empire, but no one is going to tell you that. And I will be deemed, as usual, shadow banned, which I love. See, I haven't done one of these in a long time, but they will definitely shadow ban me because they love doing that. Oh my gosh. Anytime I talk about the truth, they just take my viewers right away from me, which is great. They will probably put some type of misinformation label on this, and that's going to be that. It's going to be like I didn't say anything at all. Because apparently you're not allowed to talk about how your country is falling while you live inside the country. You're supposed to just sit down, shut up, and talk about race or the Epstein files. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to talk about anything else that has nothing to do with what's actually happening every single day so that everybody can go to their safe jobs and we can all just participate. Pay your bills and participate. So that when they liquidate you and they take everything and you have nothing left, they can say, oops, we never seen this coming. And the funny part is, by the time they say, oops, we never seen this coming, Americans are going to be pissed. Americans are going to be mad. But go look at your history. Go look and see how the Roman Empire fell. Actually, go see how all the empires fell. Go see the timeline. How many years does a great empire have before it falls? Then I want you to go look at the mission of BRICS, right? Go figure out why those countries, as individuals, don't like us, because that's very, very important. America, we change policies and politics every few years, right? We care about different things every few years. But if you watch these big companies, not companies, countries like China, you can go look at Nigeria, go look at Brazil. They go off of a system of the heart, meaning things that happened to them 200 years ago, they are still pissed about it today. Things that happened to them 500 years ago, they still teach that history and they're still mad. We're talking about countries that operate on a sense of vengeance and a sense of pride. Two things that America doesn't have. Well, we're prideful, but we're like idiot prideful, right? We're like a dumbass husband where you tell your husband, I can't deal with you anymore. I'm going to divorce you. And so he starts doing a bunch of nonsense things to try to keep you. Then right before you fucking walk into the courthouse, his dumbass asks you, hey, do you think that we can push this forward? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be an asshole idiot. That's how America works. America works like a narcissistic boyfriend or husband, while the rest of the world is working on hundreds worth of years of history and vengeance plans. And that's where we're fucking falling short because we don't understand. It's not that they don't like us from something that's happened 60 or 70 years ago. No, they're holding on to long-term debt, long-time debt. They are mad and they're operating on a sense of vengeance. They're operating on a sense of we're gonna get them motherfuckers. We're just waiting. We're just taking our time. And that's the scary part because we think that we're good to go today. But the reality is, these people have been planning our demise for a long time and they flexed for a long time. That's why China came out of nowhere with their 100 tons worth of, I'm pretty sure it was 100,000 tons or like 1,000 tons. I don't fucking know. A lot of zeros, tons worth of gold, okay? But they told the people that they were mining for cobalt and lithium. They didn't tell them that they were mining for gold. And when they found that gold, they utilized that gold to back the unit, because that's what it's called. It's called the unit. They utilized that gold to back the unit. They also utilized that gold to tell other countries that haven't joined BRICS yet to say, hey, we have a lot of gold. We have a lot of actual assets. We have, look at the UAE. Did you guys go look at the UAE? Did you go look at fucking Saudi Arabia? Turns out that they don't have to only fucking trade by the petrodollar anymore because America thought that they were just going to sign that deal, but they didn't. They didn't. They're friends with BRICS now. So they get to trade via petro, via the unit. They get to trade with whatever currency they want to trade with because the United States dollar is not dominant anymore and it doesn't control the market anymore. Because it doesn't control the market anymore, now other countries get to choose who they want to trade with and how they want to trade. This is a big deal. This makes it so that even though we're doing the 15% tariffs, it's meant to hit the American dollar pocket. It's not meant to hit the pockets of internationally. We know. Basically what I'm trying to say is the government know they lost. And if y'all don't think the government knows that they lost, it's because you're scared and you're in denial. They know that they've lost. They know that no one gives a fuck about us anymore. They know that Canada doesn't care. Mexico doesn't care. Literally, they don't care. Canada said, all right, fine. You want to be a bunch of jackasses and charge us something? You want to tax us? You want to put tariffs on us? We don't even want to use your products. And then you know what China and BRICS did? They came in like thieves in the night. And they said, hey, Canada, we'll be your friends. We got money. You want to play with us? And Canada's like, oh, hell yeah. Then Canada turned around to America and said, America, are you sure you don't want to change your mind? Because I'm telling you, the deal that these people are offering, it's a sweet deal. And I know that they're not just going to only protect me financially. They're going to protect me military-wise. Are you sure you don't want to change your mind? Since I'm sitting directly on top of your border, and that the reality is that is where we sit at the Arctic level is a strategic input place. Are you sure you don't want to be my friend? America said, be your friend. Bitch, you don't tell me what to do. I got all the monies. I'm flashy. Don't you know who I am? Fuck you. And you know what they said? They said, okay. It's a fuck me? Yeah, fuck you. You sure? Didn't I say fuck you? That's what's happening right now. And Canada's like, all right, hey, yo, China! Yeah, we'll take the deal. We in, baby. What we gotta do? Oh, we ain't gotta do anything? All right, yeah, we be your friends. Then they called Mexico. And Canada said, hey, you talk to America? And Mexico said, yeah, they tripping. And Canada said, yeah, they tripping over here too. But look, I talked to China. And then Mexico said, shut the fuck up. I low-key talked to China too. You talk to China? And what they tell you? Well, shit, they told me they would trade with me and it'll be a fair trade and that, we'll just do it by the unit. Yeah, they told me about the unit too. They told you all the gold they got? Yup. Yeah. So then what they gonna do? Well, I'm thinking we go talk to America one more time as, a partnership. And if they still don't bite, we just go over there. And they said yes. So that's our northern border unprotected. That's our southern border unprotected. Not to mention, all you got to do is look it up and you will see that they are calling our troops back home. Why do y'all think they're calling the troops back home? Because America also said, hey, NATO, we can't continue to afford to pay you and be your military support because y'all don't really come up with the dollars like y'all said y'all was going to. And it's getting a little crazy out there. So we're going to need to pull our troops and bring them back home. We have to protect America first. And NATO said, hold up, bitch. What you mean you gotta protect America first? I thought we was allies. And America was like, we was allies. But like I said, you don't pay your bills. So now, we ain't got no money. You ain't paying your bills. We kind of in this little situation. It don't look like y'all gonna help us. So we gonna have to, pull back. China said, excuse me, NATO said, so you just gonna leave us like that? America said, you gonna pay your bill? They said, we ain't finna pay shit. Eh. Most of NATO is ready to jump ship because they no longer have American protection. But America is not thinking. America's not thinking about the fact that the reason why we told those people that we would protect them is because there is still this thing called, right? I'm overwhelmed and I'm excited. It's greater in numbers, but if we lose the numbers, right? If we lose the numbers, then where are we greater at? If we don't have friends on the inside, friends on the outside, friends on the borders, then where are our friends at? We can't threaten people. Oh, we're going to arrest your president. So, but they didn't get any of the assets. See, America didn't arrest that president in Venezuela for no damn narco. They arrested that president because they wanted his assets. But BRICS was too fast. They was too quick for them. And it's happening everywhere. We didn't blow. Y'all think we sent the bomb over to Nigeria because we had an issue with Nigeria? We sent the bomb over Nigeria because we was like, listen, bitches. Now we're running short on supplies. We ain't got a lot going on. So we need for y'all to go ahead and give us some of your assets. Nigeria's like, we ain't giving you shit. America was like, wait. Bitch, I don't think you heard me. Give me some of your assets. But then BRICS came about and said, hold up. They're not alone. Nigeria's not alone. So what's up? What you want to do? Next day, Nigeria went over to BRICS. It was official, just like that. Their assets protected. They said, then the BRICS said, hey, America, go ahead and back off. Because like I have been saying since 2020, when I fucking said that there is a game going on in the world called the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Oh my God, nobody wanted to listen. That just didn't sound real. It just didn't sound like a whole lot of people could come together and say that they don't like one country. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? They didn't think that an entire world can come together and say we don't like one country. Damn, ain't that crazy? They thought that we were too intertwined. Oh no, you know how the economy works and the money works and the paper laws that people write down with pen and paper. You know how that shit work. It makes it so that they can't do that to us. Newsflash, when we went over there and we got Gaddafi and we went over there and we got motherfucking Saddam Hussein, we told the world we don't play the games that y'all play. We get to do what we want to do. The world rules don't matter. They just matter to y'all. They don't matter to us. The moment that we did that, the world woke up and decided we don't have to play by the Western rules anymore. No, we're not going to do that. And they took 20 years to get around, sit in a circle, do a powwow, and to talk about it and to think about it. And they said, hey, I don't like the way that this shit is going. These people get to come into your country whenever they want to and just kill you off without a fair trial because they said that that's what they want to do. They literally get to come into your country and steal your assets. I thought we wasn't doing it like that anymore. I mean, I know we used to operate off of that, but I thought ever since we became international world trading society that we was going to respect everybody's borders. But I guess that's only for the NATO countries. See, they woke up. And it's a shitstorm for us. And they can sit here and say that they are not isolating the American people. But the American people don't make the decisions and the choices. We have the ability to, but we're not. So, they can make you stare at the news and believe all the BS you want to. But if you're not looking into BRICS, you were just, I don't know, uninformed spectator, because you either have to be a well-informed spectator or an uninformed spectator. And right now we are operating off of uninformed spectator energy. and no one actually knows what's going on in this country because everybody is walking around with their eyes closed and we're acting like it's back to business. But the reality is, every time you pay that car note, that mortgage payment, that electricity bill, just know that those people are patting their pockets for their great escape. That's it. Just know that when you take your money and you pay for shit and it's just like when you go to Romania and they got lei. That lei isn't good anywhere else but America, but in Romania. And an American dollar is 4 and 1 for them. That is where we're falling. We're going to be in a time where the US dollar will only be accepted in America. And then other countries are going to come here and they're going to travel here and they're going to come live here. And they're going to bring their money. And their money is going to be like 5 to 1 for us. And they're going to say, oh my God, I love going to America. I am so rich when I go to their poor ass country. Yeah, the people that live there don't know that they're poor, but the rest of the world knows that they're poor. That's exactly how that's going to happen. And us living in it, we're going to be like, damn, it's too expensive to eat out. It's too expensive to do anything. And we're going to slowly but surely watch the McDonald's and the Burger Kings and the Pizza Huts. All that shit's going to dry up. Maybe you'll get 1 or 2 in your city. You know, grocery stores, they're going to start looking like European grocery stores. I mark my words on this. Where it's a place where you get everything from. Mark my fucking words. There's not going to be a lot of places to shop. Mark my fucking words. We are seeing an economic change that everyone is pretending like they don't see. And it's frustrating because the only way you curve this economic change is if the people get involved. But they're not going to allow you to know that this economic change is coming because they don't want you to get involved. Because if you pull your money or if you stop paying bills, then it's ahead of the system that they have tricked you into. That's all this is. All this is we need the country to collapse slowly so that our bunkers can be ready on time. We need for people to keep watching the news and talking about the Epstein files, because if we get people to start talking about the fact that their dollar is, the value of their dollar is depreciating, we don't want that type of news. That's not what we signed up for. Guys, keep them upset, keep them distracted. Do not tell them anything that can make them potentially pull their money from our banking system, because we're not ready yet. We'll tell them when we're ready. When we're ready for them to pull their money, we'll let them know. When we're ready for these people to start moving and panicking, we'll let them know. But we're not ready to tell them yet. We need them to bring their gold and their silver to our banks. Because right now our banks don't have any gold and silver. But if we have the American people traded in for digital assets, the ones and dollars, see, here's the reality of it. If a dime from fucking 1962 is worth $6, but you don't know that, and you go give them your gold and your silver, they're going to give you $2 for that dime, and they're going to keep the $4 difference. But they're going to pad their pockets. So while your bank account says you got an extra $2, their bank account says that they got 4 extra fucking dollars, because it's not going to be an even exchange. And they're going to keep doing that. And they're going to keep doing that. And they're going to keep taking your gold away from you. They're going to keep taking your silver. They're going to take your copper. They're going to take everything that you have, every fucking metal that you have. They're going to take that shit. I would not put it above our governments right now to be taking old homes and stripping them down, taking old businesses and stripping them down and figuring out what they can find inside of them. I would not put it above big corporations if they're not hiring people to strip shit down. Because the reality is, while they're sitting up here telling you that they're mining cobalt, they're actually pivoting to gold and silver. Land that people haven't claimed in years, that they know for a fact is sitting on some type of minerals and resources, they are going in. They're putting out that final call. Final call for your land. If you do not claim that shit, they are claiming that shit. Because what they're going to do is they're going to take up your money. They're going to eat all your resources dry. They're going to pay for their bunkers. They're going to pay for the shit that they need. They're going to leave y'all here to suffer. And they're going to put a cute little name on it. Remember the Great Depression was just called the Great Depression? And then in the 2008, 2010 era, we had the recession. Cute little names to describe that these motherfuckers have, excuse me, liquidated this country for years. And putting you against each other, telling you that one president is doing good while one president is doing bad, but every president is actually still following the same plan. Y'all don't think it's weird that Joe Biden didn't do anything to bring down the inflation rates? Y'all don't think it's weird that when we were screaming, Joe Biden, bring down inflation, he didn't do that? That's because he wasn't supposed to. That's not his job. He wasn't supposed to bring down inflation rates. Why would he do that? That's part of the script. Y'all don't think it's strange that a lot of the billionaires live right there, and millionaires, they get taxed in the state of California, and California didn't make any special rules until recently that told these motherfuckers not only will you get taxed, but if you try to leave before that tax, we gonna get you at the door. Y'all didn't think that was weird? Why didn't California make that rule eons ago? Why they just started right now? Because they seen the big people leaving with their paychecks and said, oh, hell no. They seen Silicon Valley becoming Silicon Ditch. And they said, oh, hell no. We're not just going to let these people just run out. We need some money. But they should have been getting the money years ago. They should have been getting the money years ago. Whether it was a Democratic state or whether it was a Republican state. But they all go off of the exact same stature, which is take the money from the poor. And then they want to sit up here and talk about their liquidating the middle class. Isn't it strange that when corporations were doing what they agreed to do, there was the middle class? When corporations did exactly what they got paid to do, and they followed the agreement for the taxes to the T, there was a whole separate class of people who had money that was paying into the economy. And then they decided, let's liquidate that. Let's take that money. Let's get that money too. And you know what? Let's fire everyone. And we're going to have AI do the work. Yeah, let's go ahead and start firing people. Because we got to liquidate our assets. And then let's say we're putting AI everywhere. See, in the middle of them firing people and liquidating assets, we've come to a point where resources are little to nothing. Water gone. They just assumed that it was going to rain enough. They just assumed that companies like AESC was going to put money back into these communities. They put nothing into the community. They put nothing. They took the builders' money and they ran. They said, oh, it's costing so much money to mine. They announced their arrival, and then they took the money, the incentives, and then they stopped. So the town where they've got, let me put it to you like this. Federal government gives money to improve infrastructure. The state takes the money. The infrastructure does not get improved because let me make it better for you. A private company, an organization, or a public company, they come to a state and they go to a town and they say, we would like to build in your town. We are going to build this factory up and it's going to bring 3,000 jobs. The town gets excited. The town says, we don't have the money for this. The company says, we don't have the money for it either, but the federal government does. So then the federal government gives a grant. Now that city, it takes the money and it starts building the infrastructure. It takes a little bit more of that money and it says, hey, it's going to create 3,000 jobs, We need people to come in that are experts from around the world to live here. So we're going to give some of that money to these contractors, right? To these real estate agencies, to these brokers. We're going to give them some of that money. What they're going to do is they're going to build these houses up. We're going to build these new houses, but we're going to overcharge because essentially what we're saying is the cost of living in this town is cheap. And so when they come to this town, they can surely afford to buy a home here, but we don't want to keep our homes low. So we're going to actually up the cost of living and the cost of these homes. Mind you, the company has not moved in yet. They did not open up the 3,000 jobs. There are not new people here yet, but we're setting up what they would like to call the infrastructure. So then the company realizes, oh, it costs a lot of money to mine this cobalt. Oh, we're not the only people in the world that's mining this cobalt. There's actually competitors, and those competitors have more money than us. They move faster than us, and they're on top of the market better than we are. So then the company goes back to the town and says, you know what? We're going to have to halt in what we're doing. At this time, we cannot actually build the promised factory that we said we were going to build. At this time, we cannot actually get those jobs together. At this time, we are actually not going to bring 3,000 people to your town because we need to reallocate our funds. Okay, but that company has already gotten the money for the mining. Construction companies have already broke ground and they're building new grocery stores. They've already broke ground and they're building additional gas stations that are familiar to city people so that when the city people come here, they'll want to live here. The town has already begun to build more houses that will now stay vacant because they're overpriced for the local population. And yet, the company has yet to bring in the promised revenue. So now you have a town that's in the hole that doesn't have the money that they thought that they were going to have. They don't have the bodies. The company who promised this town all this revenue and all this new business has pulled out. So now you're at a place where there's a water droughtage. Okay, so we don't have water because the water has been taken for the infrastructure of this new company that was going to build these fucking batteries, right? All the water that we're supposed to have has been put into infrastructure. But the same company who was supposed to then turn around and give back to this town, they haven't given back. They haven't given back because they don't actually have the money. Because these are new tech companies that just moved really fast and thought, I need somewhere to put my battery plants. But these same new tech companies who needed somewhere to put their battery plants are recognizing how much money it costs to do all this. So effectively, they have taken the town's money. The people that live within the city limits are now effectively being double charged their water bills to have brown water and water that is basically, I don't know, we're in a fucking drought, right? And it turns out that no matter how much money you have, can't replace the water that you use up. And that's the new American politics. And that's where we are. We are literally liquidating our country from the inside out, while other people are deciding that they no longer want to play ball with us. They don't like us, they don't respect us, and they have a vendetta against us. And all this while they're feeding you the drama. And I'm not being disrespectful, but it's true. While they're feeding you the drama of the Epstein files. So they're telling you. They got, and think about who they got speaking. They got the witty Jasmine Crockett. They got the handsome Gavin Newsom. They got all these people talking so you don't recognize what's happening directly in front of you. And then on top of that, we got the fucking Olympics. And none of those entities are going to tell you how to get your money back once they finish liquidating America. Oh well, this is America.